Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stroke Talks, the podcast. I am Sybil Jones. I am a stroke survivor as well as your host here at Stroke Talks, the podcast. And, folks, we are not here to talk about me today. We are not. We are not. Okay, so we're going to talk to this lovely lady, Miss Stephanie, who take two. This is take two because she could not get her life together last week. How you doing, girlfriend?
How you doing?
I'm happy to see that you made it today.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that I made it too.
Cause, girl,
I know. I was fired.
But look. The HR director is right here. She was waiting for you.
I know. I won't let her down this time. I didn't want to let her down.
He was like, we are not.
Right.
As you are coming into this live, or even if you're watching the replay, give it some thumbs up, click that share button, all the good things to help the Stroke Talks podcast reach more people. All right. Now, Stephanie. Now, actually, you know what? Hold on.
Oh, Lord. I'm going to give my performance review on live, y'all.
As I continue to roast you, right. I gotta tell you this. He's going to get me. My husband's going to get me.
That's all right.
I told him I was going to tell you. So, last night, before bed, I was like, oh, Stephanie's going to be on. She's coming on. She's my guest for the Stroke Talks podcast. Now, I have two friends named Stephanie. You and my childhood friend, my best friend.
Right.
He said, wait, he didn't hear the Stroke Talks podcast. He just heard podcasts.
Right.
Said, which one? the Steffi who had a stroke? The stroke? No, actually said the stroke Stephanie. I said, yes, my strokey friend, Stephanie. And folks. Look, here for me, I laughed through my journey, through my recovery.
Right.
And so, no harm, no foul. We laugh, we have a good time. Steffi, you weren't offended by me saying
not at all.
Your stroke.
No, it's my identity now. I'm cool with it.
Hey.
And
then okay with saying strokey. Like,
right.
It's not anything. That's how I
think it's like when people outside the community or haven't had strokes or death, they're like cluster pearls. But like for us, it's like, it's like day-to-day living. Like it's just part of the game.
Part of the game. Like when you drop stuff or you just you're like, right. Oh shoot, I can't feel it. You be like, because you're either gonna laugh about it, cry about it.
Right. And so it's like you might as well laugh about it to keep from crying. Not that crying is bad by any means, but sometimes it's just you gotta laugh about it.
Yes, because I do cry sometimes. I cry and I still to this day. Do you like how are you? We're gonna get into your story. I want to back up. How are you right now?
Right.
Emotionally dealing with?
Let's see. Well, I'm a person of faith, so obviously that plays a big part. I also have a therapist I talk to every week or every other week about things. So I'm a firm believer that faith, and some people are like, if you are a believer, you shouldn't go to therapy. I'm of the camp of like you need therapy and faith. So I'm fine with that. And I don't see anything wrong with that. So I think if it helps you, I think you should go for it.
Yes, because talking about the therapy, the mental health side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and the faith, I think back to when I was young and before I had gone through anything, right?
Right.
You haven't gone through anything. You
Right.
My thought of therapy, and I still struggle with therapy, I will admit to that.
Mm-hmm.
You, but and then for myself as well, growing up in the church, I always heard pray about it.
Right.
God,
Right.
God provided man or
Right.
woman to also help you work through those processes. So I
Right.
think, it's important and that they do go hand in hand.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. See, look, I'm gonna look, I'm over here on like 3/4 of this conversation. Let me go back to the
That's right.
beginning. So, Stephanie,
Yes.
introduce yourself. Starting with one, I want to know when did you have your first stroke?
2020.
2020. Now, did you have any health concerns? Was there any
I
word
mean,
knowledge that made you think that you would have a stroke?
no, because I didn't have the stereotypical stroke symptoms like the BFAST. It was none of that. It was like what happened was the week I had the stroke, or like Monday, I woke up and I wasn't feeling well. This was in March of 2020. Wasn't feeling well, was lethargic, didn't have an appetite, and so it continued throughout the week. And like Thursday, I had started feeling a little better, but I was like thinking to myself, I should probably go to the doctor tomorrow, Friday. And then Friday morning early, I woke up and I was just throwing up profusely, like nobody's business. And so I was like, what am I throwing up? Because I haven't really been eating that much. So, like for me, it was like nausea. It was like, feeling lethargic, um, no appetite. That was like, um, my indicators. So when I got to ER, they did like a CAT scan, an MRI. Then the doctor came in and was like, I don't want to alarm you, but you've had a stroke. And I was like, what? And I was like thinking, I had a stroke. What happened? So yeah, um I remember for the rest of the day, they had me on liquid diet because they wanted to make sure that I could still swallow and so as a precaution. But I remember the next day when I could eat solid food, boy, it was I I don't know what it was, but it was like eating steak and lobster to me because I hadn't eaten, you know. I like my appetite was down the whole week, and then I couldn't eat for a day on Friday, except like broth and um, I think I had 7 Up and water and stuff. But like on Saturday when I could eat, it was like the floodgates were open.
You're like, I'm gonna eat everything. So,
Right,
so like your indicators were more so of kind of, I don't want to say your typical feelings of just feeling sick, like you
right,
just being lethargic,
yes,
things that most people would just dismiss as, oh, I have a
right,
virus.
right. Um, and like the one thing, it was like 3 or 4 months before I've been really sick, and then when I went to the doctor, then they were like, "Oh, you have like it was a virus," and then I honestly think it was COVID before they knew it was COVID, and so like,
March 2020, it was
uh
the
it was December 2019 when I felt like I was sick. I was like the flu, but like on steroids, and so I was like,
oh
um, yeah, I was like. I was in bed for like 2 weeks straight, and then I got better from that. But that was like I didn't associate the two.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So and they determine a cause of that first stroke? Were they like there was any high blood pressure, high cholesterol, any was there
I like they never really found a cause. I about 2 or 3 strokes down the line, I got what's called a PFO closure, and what that is, it's like we're all born with a hole in our heart, but that hole is supposed to close up um when we take our first cry, but mine never closed up, and it's crazy because I went through like in high school, I did basketball and track. I had done like half marathons and everything. But like after high school, of course. But it was like um, I'm surprised it didn't come up before in like my physicals and things like that. But
and you had
um, I had
no
no inkling of that. So it took the strokes for that to come up. So yeah. So yeah, that's Um, yeah, you're right, Julie. That is really interesting about the heart. It's like there's so many things that have to go right for it just to function on a daily basis. And so, like, if one thing is off or one thing goes awry, then it kind of like affects your whole body.
yes. And sadly, I think because I won't say sad. Well, no, it is sadly. I know for myself, I've been seeing, and it may be because I am more aware of stroke. So
Right,
on my radar, but I see people talking about how their stroke was due to the hole in their
right,
that never closed up. And
right,
that has made me think there were no indications before now because these are grown
right.
like adults.
Right. Exactly. It wasn't like I was young, and I mean, I am young, but it's like it
Girl,
wasn't
you're
like.
young. Girl, you're young. Well, look, we just 21.
It's so funny. One of the ladies at my facility that I'm at, she just celebrated her 89th birthday. So I asked her, I said, "How does it feel to be 21?"
So
So anyway, what's gonna say? So I mean, it's like it's not like it's like I said, I was active and doing all these things, and nothing really happened. And then with this hole in my heart, even though like um I mean nothing happened, and then with hole in my heart and getting it closed up. I mean now it's just like a small piece of metal is like in that hole.
wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. No, because look, folks, all of this information is new to me. Okay. When you are a guest on Stroke Talks, this is a raw conversation. All right. So just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Mhm. So
Now,
surprise symbol.
yes. I'm surprised. So to fix the hole in your heart, you now have
Uh-huh.
a piece of
Yeah, it's
Middle
like yes, like a small piece. Um, I don't have the picture, but it's just like you can probably Google it and find an example. But yeah, it's like but I'm trying to think of something that's like here. Maybe this is probably the closest thing. Like this little ball here on my bracelet is probably the closest example to what I have. And the thing was, I was awake during the surgery. Like, because I guess, like, you can't go totally under. That has to keep you somewhat awake so they can keep the heart rate up at a certain level. But I could see what was going on. Like, there's a monitor and like the nurse was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm watching this a neat TV show," and like she was like, ma'am, that's your heart," and she was like, and then she was like, "Give her some more whatever medicine it was to keep me sedated." Because they were like, wait, now she's too alert. Now we need to bring her back down.
It's
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
I was joking, but she was just like, I was joking, but she was like, and I remember thinking afterwards, I wish like I have a cousin who's a retired nurse, and this has like been like going back to nursing school for her almost. So I was like, I wish she could be there to see this because I
right.
know back in the day they would have had to crack my heart, my chest open, and she was like, oh yeah, like you would have been out for like a week after that. But the fact is, like, they just did an incision in my groin area, and it was all like arthroscopic, I guess is the word. So like the only thing was I had to lie flat for like the rest of the day, like completely flat.
So look, it's like technology has come so far, even in the
Right.
medical field.
Oh, right. Because like when I went to the cardiologist, afterwards they were showing like the evolution of like because I have now a what's called a loop recorder. It's like a heart monitor that's implanted under my chest, and they were showing like kind of the history of those kind of devices, and like they went from like big to big to like what I have now is probably the size of like a jump drive or maybe smaller.
Wow. See,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to research that because I need
Right.
to do that because I mean I know like when you said the growing, I'm responding to Stroke TV Media. Hey, let me see. This is live, and I
Right.
respond to my folks watching live.
Right.
Scan this QR code. Can y'all see it? I don't know if you can see it. Yes, right there. It will take you to stroketalks.com. Complete Be a Guest. There's a form, and then we will get you scheduled to come on and share your story as well. Stroke Talk TV.
Mhm.
But Stephanie, you said they went through your growing. I have a
Right.
growing story too and I have a piece of mesh metal.
Right. Exactly.
Look,
Mhm.
we saw sisters. We saw
Right.
sisters.
All right.
It was meant for us to meet in person.
Uh-huh.
Although I asked Stephanie for her recommendation of a beautician, and she said, I'm a stroke survivor too.
I know. Like you should
Never
have
got
never thrown that
recommendation.
in. If you was just that beautician, I could like I. And the thing is, I know people who I know beauticians. I go to church with one or two actually, and then like just from like networking and meeting people, I knew beauticians, and I was like, I could help you. So if I had stayed on, if it was nothing but hair, I would have been on it. but I zeroed in the stroke part, and like here we are.
Yes, and here we are now talking about it. But
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie, so the whole you heard the P is PAO.
PFO.
PFO.
Right.
They found this after your
Third stroke.
stroke.
Uh-huh. Because I had what's called a transesophageal echocardiogram. So basically, they stick a tube down your throat, and then they look at your heart from like the inside, basically.
Now, did they
So
put you out for that?
what's that?
They put you under
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
put me out for that. Usually, you don't have to, but because I kept gagging, they had. I know. Too much info, but like because my gag reflex, they had to put me out because um I was I was under anesthesia for I think it was well anyway maybe I'm getting my memory messed up but like I was out for something else and then they're like let's do the TEE while she's under anesthesia so we can get like a clear shot and then I've had pretty much every um heart and test known to mankind. And like I've had EEGs, I've had I've had angiograms, like pretty much any test you would give to someone that's had a stroke, I've had.
You had.
Mhm.
So your first three strokes, they determined the cause after your first stroke.
Right.
And
Well, like they after my third stroke they
after
figured
your
out
third stroke.
because my second stroke it was probably okay. My second stroke was, I guess, more like not stereotypical, but like I had more to be fast. But the crazy part, it was like I was driving and like I felt like disconnected, and
Okay,
so like
wait a minute. At this time, you were living in California. So
I
you were on
was,
the freeway? Were you
I
on the
was, I was on. I was going to work, so I was on the freeway. And I remember I was going from the 5 north to like the 8 west, because that's where I had training for work. And like in that transition of freeways, that's when I started feeling off. I made it to work. Someone's like, tried like, why didn't you stop driving? And I was like, that's a good question. But then I stopped driving. But I was like, well, I'm close enough to work where, like, But then when I got out of the car and I started walking to the building where I needed to go, it was maybe like 50 feet. It felt like 50 yards. It felt hot. And then, like, it felt like I was in an obstacle course. And then my coworkers were like, how you feel? And I was like, not good. And so I know, I know. It's like can't be serious. And then like one of my coworkers actually used to be an EMT, so she knew all the things to do. Like she had me lie down, and she was like, "We need to get you a hospital." But the question was like, "Well, do we call paramedics or do I?" Because someone just drive me, and
right?
then another coworker drove me, and I was lying down in the back seat of her car, and I knew it was a new car. I was thinking, please don't let me. I know, don't let me throw up in the back of this woman's car, and so and so it was. I'm in the back seat, of course. There is my coworker driving, and my other coworker who was an EMT before was shotgun. And then when we got to the ER, I remember like she knew all the lingo to say to get them to like
To
get
take
them
you,
moving.
like get you back there
Right,
immediately.
right. Hmm.
Because I
And
do
then,
think that sometimes with, and this is again just over the last few years of me being
Right.
aware of strokes that people's response time
Oh,
is
right.
so long, or they don't know what to tell paramedics or the
Right.
hospital, right? Like
Mhm.
if you take a friend into the ER, like you walk a friend in. There's a difference in if
Mhm.
you are unconscious and you go in,
Right.
but if you walk a friend in,
Right.
I've seen stories where people are just seated in the waiting room
Right.
because they don't know the right lingo to
Uh-huh.
tell
Right. Exactly.
what's going on.
Right. But yeah, she used technical terms, and that she told them I had a stroke before, and I might be having one now and then. Um, that stroke, that time I got the TPA, which dissolves clots in the brain. So I think after that stroke, they were like I was having blood clots that were moving from my heart to my brain. So,
So
um,
let me ask you this. I'm sorry. Your first three strokes were is was it that the blood clots were dissolving themselves? Like I've heard where sometimes the clot is traveling to the brain, but it tends to dissolve itself.
yeah, I think that was um, uh, it for like the first two or
And
three strokes.
in this one, the clot did not dissolve itself. It
Right.
needed to use the
Right, and then I was actually in the ICU after that one, because again you have to lie flat, and I remember this is probably TMI for some people,
It's a
because
girl. It's okay. We are a TMI podcast. Okay, because you know what? I feel that it is important to
right,
share those TMI moments because
oh yes,
you hear, if you've had a stroke,
right,
or if you haven't had a stroke, like you're wondering, what am I the only one? Like, come on,
oh
let's
no,
we real here. We real.
good story. I was on ICU. I couldn't. They didn't want me to get up to use the bathroom. They were gonna give me a bedpan, but I couldn't go in the bedpan, and so then I had to like go back and forth with the nurse. The nurse went back and forth with the doctor. So finally, they brought a bedside commode, so I was able to get up and use the bathroom. Of course, I got dizzy and nauseous after that. I know. And then it was so funny too because the TV, it was like on one of those channels like where it's just like scenery, and it was like all it showed water, and then they're like, let's change the channel. I was like, and then so finally I got the channel changed to like something like regular, but it was like. So I know. I always gotta have a story.
Girl. I thought you were gonna tell me that you took a poop and
Yes, I didn't actually have to take poop.
but did they make you poop? Okay, I probably should be.
Right.
No, we're just gonna say poop before you left the hospital.
Um, they didn't make me, but they were monitoring to make sure because those functions got affected. Like when you have a stroke, so like they wanted to make sure I could poop. They didn't make me poop, but they were like they wanted to like every day. That was like a question. Did you have a bowel movement? Did you get number two? Like so it's like those things, those bodily functions, which we frankly kind of just take for granted. It's like it's like every day like people ask you what the day is, where you're at, who's the president, like you have to know, like
Girl, oh my gosh. Yes. Or what's your name?
right,
How many times you gonna ask me what my name is?
right. It's like, don't you have it like somewhere?
Right,
Like,
right. You
right,
start doubting yourself. You're like, dang, I don't know.
right. Eh,
Actually,
What
I
is
did
what is
like,
my name? What?
yeah, because I remember for myself, and not this isn't about me, but you talked about that makes me think about this. They asked me my name, and I didn't
Oh,
know. So I just started repeating whatever the nurse said to me. I just like let me repeat because I was
right.
frustrated. Like I was
Mhm.
frustrated, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
Right.
those are those moments that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Take
And they're like, what's the day? And it's like the 25th. Because it's like when you're because like and when you're working, you have routine. It's a little easier because it's like, well, it's Monday and yesterday was the 24th and it's Sunday, so today is Monday, so it must be the 25th.
yes.
So
And then
yeah,
also I think, or I won't say I think, I know for some stroke survivors,
right,
with the onset of the stroke, there is a period of time that you just cannot recall.
right, all
You,
right,
you may lose a day or a few days.
right,
It's just depending there. So,
right.
all right. So, did you have any residuals or deficits after
Um,
those 4 strokes?
I did, but I was able to relatively bounce back. Like, um, I know that after my fifth stroke, I ended up I because before I had driven like a stick shift manual transmission, but after I think the fifth stroke, I went to an automatic because my left side was affected, and your left foot is what you change the gears with. So it's like I was scared that I would be in a situation where I can't move my leg and not be able to shift in time, or it was down the clutch for too long. So that's why I got an automatic. And then
By your fifth stroke, what year was this? Because your first stroke happened in 2020.
2020, yes. So like my fifth stroke, I was in October 2021, and like what happened then, like I remember the day before I was doing laundry because the next day I was supposed to fly out for my nephew's wedding in South Dakota. But like I when I got back from the laundromat, I like went to bed like I didn't do anything but go to bed. And so I kept telling myself, I'll sleep it off that was on me. I'll sleep it off and the next morning I'll get up early and do all my stuff and then I'll get to the airport and like I think my flight was at like 10 or 11. I think at 9 I was like, what's not gonna happen because I can't get I can't get up. Like I mean, like it wasn't a matter of like not being able to, it's just I just didn't feel well. So I had to like message my nephew, I messaged my sister-in-law and like say I can't. I'm not gonna be able to make it, and then that's when I wound up in the hospital. But then the next, it was Saturday was the wedding, so when one of my nieces um went live, kind of like now, and like she I saw the ceremony, so it was see my nephew get married.
Thank you, Kelly, for tuning in.
Yeah, that's my cousin Kelly. Hi Kelly.
Hi, cousin. You're my cousin now too. I'm just saying.
Right,
saying.
exactly.
Sorry. So you watched the wedding live.
Right.
Look, I'm like, focus, Sybil, focus.
Uh-huh.
So, Stephanie, you
Yes.
said Because now I need to pick a bone with you.
Uh-huh.
You said October of 2021.
Right.
That was your sixth stroke. Fifth. Fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth. Okay, when did we meet? Have we met yet?
No, we didn't meet till 2023, I think. Or 22? Maybe it was 2022.
Okay, wait, because in the picture, I have on open toe shoes. So my stroke happened April of 21.
Right.
I moved to San Diego the end of July. Okay, yeah, no, we hadn't met yet because I moved the end of
Right.
middle to end of July. So you know what?
And then in San Diego, you can wear open toe shoes most of the year anyway. Cause
True.
I have a picture years ago. It was taken like October, November, and like you can see my feet. It's like I'm bundled up on. I have like a long sleeve shirt and a scarf on and jeans, but then I'm wearing flip flops. So
Okay.
that's how. I know.
Okay. You know what? You're right. 22 because I couldn't drive for 6 months.
Oh wow.
So if it was April,
And
May,
you had driven to our lunch.
our lunch, I was like, I can only drive about a mile. That was like at that point, I was clear to drive a mile, and you came. Okay, because I was ready to say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, this happened in 21. I knew you in 21, but I didn't. So my
Right.
apology. I
No,
was
no, I know. It was like sometimes the time gets me too.
okay. So six stroke 2021,
Mm-hmm.
but you're feeling good. You are.
I'm
Were
feeling good. Like
you
I'm,
working?
I was working. I was, I like at that point in time, I was a temp. I was working, but I was working in HR. I was still cognizant, and like I still had my cognitive abilities. Um, so I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and then it was just like it just happened that like I had the day off on Friday because I was supposed to be in the flight, which didn't happen, of course. But like I was still working, still driving, um, still doing like I said, I didn't give up driving a stick until after that stroke in October 2021 because I didn't drive for like a month. And but then on Thanksgiving Day, I had slept in a lot. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try. After I had something to eat, I was like, I'm gonna try to like drive. I drove around the block just to see if I could do it. I was so tired afterwards.
Wait,
That wore me out.
I need you
Cause
to
you,
say
cause
that
you,
again. Say,
cause it,
I need you to stress that
right.
because
I
when
think it's like
good
we take for granted the emotional, the mental, the physical energy it does to do like quote
Carrie,
unquote. I know, Carol. That's one of my sisters since seventh grade. So yeah, I know. I hit the point. You're right. She used to
like,
tease me. She should teach me about it too. And I was like, I know. So yeah, so I drove around. I said, I'm gonna see if I can drive around the block. I was like tired from just driving around the block. Just from like shifting gears to like paying attention to the road, just like even now sometimes I'm relatively less active, but if I have a long day, like if I go to church with my cousin, for example, then it's like um even that because I'm sitting up, you're paying attention to the service and you're engaging with people, that takes a lot out of you. And I think people, you don't realize how much energy that takes until you're in a situation where your energy is affected. And it's like, oh, well.
Yes.
Like
It's
when I
not,
get back from church and get something to eat, I'll take a nap. Oh,
and it's not the same time because I know, like, I've had conversations with people, and it's like,
right,
oh, everyone gets tired if you're driving a long distance or you do. And it's like,
right,
no, I'm not driving along. This is just your running to the store or
right,
going to
right.
the corner. And the tiredness, it's not necessarily a, oh, yes, you take a nap, but it's not a,
It's like fatigue.
yeah,
It's,
it's not a nap. It's just going to shake it. You might be out for a
oh
couple of,
yeah. Like when we got together and like I got home and I was like out of there. I was like I went to bed because I was just I can't do anything else. And it took a couple of days for me to feel like okay I can be active again
yes,
because it was like the driving, it was like engaging, of course, like
yes,
it's just like the mental, the emotional, physical energy combined. It was just
yes. The simple task of, oh, we're going for lunch and sitting and
right,
talking.
right.
Normally, okay, we're gonna sit and talk for lunch.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
oh,
like nothing.
but now it's like, oh gosh. But
Hmm.
Stephanie, I'm gonna ask you again, you as my guest here at Stroke Talks,
Yes, no.
to stress to not only fellow stroke survivors, but family, friends, caregivers,
Right. Oh yes.
what it really feels like because I see it so often
Right.
other social media platforms and just talking to people of how families they want to push their stroke survivors to do
Right.
things, but I feel like there's a disconnect of them
Right.
understanding the full capacity and what it takes to drive around the block, what it takes to go to the grocery store. So can you
Right.
from your own mouth stress that? Because I'm also asking that for myself so you can tell my family.
Right. 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 And no, gladly. Yeah, I think like because like say you and me, we present a certain way, so people think, oh, we're back to normal. We can do ABC, and it's fine. But it's like um, but it's like even just getting out of bed sometimes it's like draining. I mean, even just seeing my wheelchair can be draining. Um, and especially after I had my brain surgery, it's like I mean, the nurse would come every day and like say, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, but I just need to rest." And then the physical therapist, she came to check on me, and she was like, "Yeah, it's just your body. It's like your body has been through trauma, and like you're right. We don't talk about the trauma enough. Like." I mean, like, I'm on these Facebook support groups for like traumatic brain injury, and like a stroke is the brain. We think of it as the heart, and yes, but it's also uh, affects your brain, and so it's like like even sometimes talking for like a long period of time is like
like today, after
but
this,
like I'll take a nap after lunch. So like but yeah, but it's but it's even though it's therapeutic to do it to talk because I mean like now like I feel like I don't sound like myself because but I had to give grace to myself, and I had to. It goes back to that trauma, like realizing your body has been through the trauma. It's kind of like it's probably not the same, but it's like PTSD in a lot of ways. Um, you like people come back from war and they hear certain sounds and they get nervous or frightened or I don't know if Tiana when she hears fireworks. Well, you haven't because you've only been back for have you had a chance to do the 4th of July stuff or anything at
Yes.
the instruments on? So it's like when dogs, when they hear fireworks, they get scared or nervous. It's kind of the same. Like even during this, I was so nervous, especially last week, that I had all my self-inflicted foul ups, but it was um, it's like, and now I'm like more relaxed about it because I went through so much last week, so now I can just focus on talking.
Yeah, yeah. Last week, no. But I think that's important to point out too, about how a stroke survivor in your life, how they present, because a lot of people think that there's physical signs, which
Mm-hmm.
there are for some people, or
Right,
that you're gonna have people who are always just kind of sad and down and out. No,
right,
you we are still people.
right.
Still, there's a piece of us there. There's a piece of the old us there.
Yes,
I also think it's important that you pointed out the emotional piece.
right,
Like, as the survivor, it's not just the physical and the speech therapy, but there is that emotional piece that we're
right,
dealing with. Those things that you talk about, how you sound. Like for me, I hear a slur. People are like, no, Sybil, there's no slur. But
right.
I hear it. There's
Yes,
also like that disconnect, and that is a personal inward battle that as the stroke
right,
survivor, you have to work through.
right.
And no one else can tell you how you should feel about it.
Right. And it's like even like recently I've had to call my bank for customer service issues. And it's like I'm self conscious of how I sound. So the person at the other line doesn't know I've had 11 strokes. They're just trying to figure out my problem. And I'm trying to communicate my problem or my challenge effectively. And it's interesting because when I was younger, I actually went through speech therapy. Like when I was much younger, my age was in single digits. I went through speech therapy, and so it's like um I know recently um this young guy at the NFL Combine. I guess he was doing interviews and he had like a stutter and he was like, I've had this speech impairment all my life. It's not gonna go away and basically I'm dealing with it, you'll have to deal with it too. I mean, because I guess people were making fun of him and the oh, thank you, Miss Friday.
Yeah, you
Yes,
better
John.
thank Miss Roddy. Miss Roddy is a buy me a coffee supporter. You better
Um,
think. Do you look? I'm gonna just tell people. I'm gonna
I'm
tell.
gonna tell her I guess some decaf.
Do you know? Can you take a guess of who that is?
That's your mom, right?
That is my mama.
Uh huh.
Who puts up with all the craziness.
Oh
And
boy,
for my mom,
she
she
should
was
get a medal.
she was living in Tennessee. She still lives in Tennessee.
All
Sorry,
right.
mama, where you are. And she is taking care of two of my aunts. So my mom was
Um.
unable to come be with me when I had my,
Right.
and she unfortunately, she called the wrath of my negative emotional state.
Right. And then I also, speaking of emotional, I do want to say that my emotions or like when I'm high, happy, I'm really up there. But when I'm low, I'm like low. Like it's like my emotions have become more extreme. And I think that's just again like as I joke, missing brain cells, but just like
Yeah. And I say misfire. So misfire is
that's
going. You're like,
that's a good one. It's like your car backfired. Well, in my brain, in my emotions backfire.
fire. They do, and that is something too that people are really unaware. And I have, for myself, started giving people more grace,
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm out, because I have been that person who out in public just
Right,
everything is good, and then it's like, well,
right.
and it's like, okay, come on, Sybil, get it together. Like, come on,
Yes.
what are we doing? What are we doing here? But
And
Stephanie, let's, because I want now, unless we have a part 3, but so between your 6th stroke, us meeting, us chatting from time to time, you sending me a picture out the blue of you in the hospital again, and your brain surgery. Tell us what happened with, because we have 6 strokes, you have 11 more to go. And again, folks, if you are just tuning in, do understand Stroke Talks, the podcast, is lighthearted. This is not an easy subject, it's easy conversation to have, but hey, this is how the conversations roll here at Stroke Talk.
right.
And if you need to cry, girlfriend, cry. I'm just saying, because to see us talking right now, you might, oh no, they're good. No, as we said, we're on an emotional roller coaster.
Right. Right. Like
we
if
have
you talk to me
through.
tomorrow, it could be a whole different scenario. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying like a year's now was a roller coaster. Like today, like I look good and fine, but like tomorrow we could do this and it'll be a totally different thing. But I appreciate like you talked about grace. It's like giving yourself grace. Like I see so many stroke survivors that don't give themselves grace or like about the fatigue and the tiredness, they don't give themselves grace. A lot of it is like, outside pressure from family, like you say. But like a lot of it is internal because we're just in a society where we're conditioned to like go, go, go. And then when we have to stop, 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 it's like how do we respond?
Yes, and I also think, and again, this story is not about me, but you're touching on it, so I'm going to share
Oh,
this
go
part.
ahead. Mhm.
And it's my show, so I can talk. I think, but this is also
you want to.
but this is also to give insight to other stroke survivors.
Right.
First couple, because I'm going on 5 years. That would be my 5th stroke aversion.
Amen.
My first few years, it was all about protecting everyone else. I
Right.
wanted to protect how my family felt. I wanted to
Right.
protect how they would respond to me. And I never sat with my feelings. I
Right.
didn't sit with how I was truly feeling or the changes because, yes, I was in ICU, I was in the stroke unit, all those
Right.
things, but I was in it.
Right.
No,
Yes.
no one saw any deficits, but
Right.
my left side don't work. It
Right.
works, but I don't feel it. And see, you
Right.
TMI, I'll be TMI, my entire left side.
Wow.
So you that'd be misfiring. Sometimes I'm like, oh god. But anywho, but it was I feel like a lot of stroke survivors, they try to protect their loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
So they hold all the pain and anger
Right.
pride. And then you just get to a point where you explode. Then everybody's looking at you like you crazy.
Right. Right.
You
And
want
it
them to be normal. You want to be normal.
and it,
Your normal self pre-stroke. And
right.
that isn't there anymore.
And then it's like, like you have kids, you have a husband, so you're trying to like be the mom, be the wife. For me, I'm single, but it's like, I had relatives that I was trying to care for and take care, like in the sense of like I have a cousin that like she wasn't driving, but like I would give her rides wherever she needed, or I have another cousin. I was trying to help her out. So even in the midst of my stroke recovery, still trying to help people, and it's like not being able to receive help back, or not expected to step back. I was still trying to like fill those roles when actually I needed to step back and like and not feeling bad about it. That was the thing. It was like needing to step back and not feeling bad about it.
You know what, Steph? That is going to be I want to do a panel discussion
Uh-huh.
with having a three or four other stroke survivors on
Uh-huh.
as a panel and talk about accepting help
Right.
because that's a big one. That's a big one.
Because I mean it took me from my first stroke to like now, like I mean even now it's like, I still try to do things on my own when I could like easily ask for help. And so it's like I don't know if it's, well, part of it is probably pride,
Yeah.
part of it is stubbornness, um part of it's like, well, if I'm like do this on my own, even if I mess up, at least I did it, kind of thing. And it's like accept the help, girl.
Yes. Sit down and accept
uh,
it's
right.
okay.
As my aunt would say, you need to sit down somewhere. So
Okay, so let's get to because Stephanie, you will come back another time because we have a lot to touch on because I want to also talk about the therapy and the mental health, but I want you right now for this episode to share about your brain surgery. Was
right.
that from your last stroke that you had?
Yes. And so like with that, like that was I didn't have, everyone said you're gonna have the headache, the worst headache of your life. I didn't have that, but it was very strong and it was very persistent. And like when as the nurse practitioner said, I usually don't complain about anything, but the fact that I kept saying, and this was like over a day period. It wasn't like prolonged, but it was just um over a day. And I remember going to sleep that night, like I'll sleep off. See, that's my thing too. If I feel off, oh, I'll sleep off instead of like But I know.
I
But
mean,
then,
because you said you did that in the first three
right,
strokes that you went to
right,
sleep. So, but you know what? I hear people saying that. I hear people saying, "Oh, I felt bad. I laid down and
right.
thought I would sleep it off."
Right. And that's the thing, it's like, and you would think after the first time I would get over that, but then I was just like, I guess in my mind it was like the first time was a one off, like it can happen again, but it can happen again. because they say like most times when you have a stroke, you're gonna have another one, and so like um, so I mean I'm just by the
And
grace
you
of
had
God,
11.
I'm still
You didn't have
by the
one.
grace of God, I'm still
You
here.
have five. You 11, and yes, you are still here, talking
Right.
to us, beautiful as ever, over here just chatting. And Stephanie is an amazing support system. She is like get a text from her, Facebook, But
Right.
tell us about your because let me back up and ask this question. And I don't know, this may be an off question. You can tell me you don't want to answer it
Right.
because I don't give the questions ahead of time. So if you don't want to answer, you
Right.
can.
Right.
You know, we've determined in 22 in
Mm-hmm.
California.
Yes.
You were living on your own.
Right.
You are now in a facility. You said in a facility.
Right.
So, again, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to.
Right.
When did this transition happen from you living on your own to a facility, and what made you make this transition?
Oh, my body. No, like in 2023, I had a stroke, and it was debilitating in the sense of like I couldn't use my right side this time, and it was like I was living with my cousins. And I moved to Texas, by the way, so I was living with
I
them.
wasn't trying to tell people where you live now. I mean, you just
Yes, I'm like on the move. I'm on the move. I'm trying to keep up with you, Sybil. So
well, it's look, every 2 years, top chop. Let's
right.
go.
Well, yeah, exactly. So see, but yeah, so I moved to Texas, partly so I could be closer to like not just my family, because I have family in California, but I was at the point where like I let me see, how can I put it? There was this guy on American Idol, The Voice, one of those shows, and he's from Hawaii, but ended up moving to like Washington State, I think. And he was like, basically, I got priced out of Paradise. And I kind of feel like that's the same with me. I kind of got priced out of Paradise, California. So, like, I moved to Texas because cost of living and so forth. And like my cousins were kind enough to let me stay with them, and the plan was to get my own apartment, and but then like my body had other plans, and so I'm in a facility, and I'm probably one of the more um, independent people here. So, but then it's like there's people around who can help. So, even with that, sometimes it's still a struggle for me to like ask for help or accept help.
We want you to start asking for help and accept the help, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, cause you said that your right side. So,
Right.
what I am gathering from you, you've had
Mm-hmm.
a stroke that has, I don't want to say hit, but has affected both
Right.
the left and
Yes.
the right. Because if it's a
Mm-hmm.
right side stroke,
Right.
your left side is affected. If it's
Right.
left side stroke, your right side is
Right.
affected.
Right.
So that's a question for another, because we're gonna have you come back. Let's
Okay.
focus simple. So your strength that led to the brain surgery.
Right.
Tell us about
Um. Well, like I said, like the day before I went to ER, I had a headache, and I had told the nurse, and then they had given me some medication. But then when I woke up,
that. Like
and
what kind of medication?
oh, just like Tylenol, like I like, because I have anything prescribed for pain,
So
head
you
pain.
just presented this as a regular headache.
I
That's what I'm.
did. I,
Okay.
I, I did. And then the next day, when I still had the headache, and, they were like, that's when they were like, she should go to the ER because it could be something more serious. Like the fact that, like, you're right, I did present as a normal headache. Not like, because it wasn't like the worst, because I used to have migraines pretty bad too. So it wasn't on that level, it was just like persistent and more than anything. And so, like, I think the fact that I kept talking about it, but you know what? I'm gonna go back. I have a history of downplaying my symptoms. um like I remember in kindergarten, 5 years old, I know I broke my arm, but like I just presented as like my arm hurts, I need a band-aid kind of thing. So I know, like it's like a series of, I know, so like my whole life is like I have a hard time saying I need help, I'm in pain, etc. So if I had presented a certain way, like my head really hurts, I think I should go to ER, then it would have been like different. But me, I'm like, oh, I have a headache. Right, exactly. Exactly. So I think the fact that the next day I was still talking about it was like a cause for concern. And I finally got the help I need. So I think in that story, I think I was a hindrance. Like people talk about, especially with black women, how we're not taken seriously when it comes to like our health. But I think part of it for me was like I didn't present in such a way where like this I didn't present the potential seriousness of what was going on.
And especially as someone who had already
Right,
suffered 10 strokes. Like
right,
it wasn't like oh, I have this headache. I'm just gonna like the first time, right? The first time
right,
I get it. But the 11th time,
right. No, right,
also you went from having the clot, an
no,
ischemic
right,
stroke, to having a brain bleed.
right,
Was your last stroke was the hemorrhagic stroke,
right,
correct?
right, right.
Was there a difference other than your headache? Was there any other symptoms or anything else that was different from your other strokes?
Not really. Um,
Or I won't say different. The stroke itself is different because every stroke,
right.
even if you have, and I want to
Yeah, pretty much
this out
every stroke
there.
I've had has been different.
Yes,
Um,
and that's something too that I think a lot of people miss, that every stroke is different. Every stroke survivor's stroke, their recovery journey is
oh, right. It's
going to be
different.
different because there's a lot of different factors that take
Right.
place there.
It's
And
like
that's
I can't look at someone else and say, like I mean, I can look at someone else and say like, because there's a lot of times people they pass away after their first or their second stroke. So the fact that I'm still here after double digits strokes,
yes.
right? So,
Yes.
by the grace of God, that's all I can say.
Amen.
I mean, so like I tell people, I'm a medical mystery.
Yes.
It sounds good on paper, but then being one in real life, it's overrated.
Yes, because I am still we're going to get back to this last stroke because
Right.
I have questions about those in the middle after they found your cause of the PFO, placed the
Mhm.
settle in your heart, but what was happening in between those times. But we're
Right.
gonna stick to this. We're gonna stick. Look, because we be here talking all day long. I
We
want
would, because
so
it's a
so you
long journey.
yes, and I also and Stephanie, I do hope you come back
I
and join
will.
me and talk about your therapy and the
Uh-huh.
recovery piece as well, and the
Right.
mental health aspect of it. But
Right.
I want to finish,
Only if HR says that they're good this time.
girl.
She's asleep. HR is
She's
gone.
not asleep. She just looked up. She's not asleep. But so you get to the hospital,
Right.
and they called the paramedics, or did they
No,
drive?
when I the last one, the paramedics got me and took me to the ER here. And so from the ER, because I'm in a small town, but then after that, I got life flighted to an ER in Bryan, and that's when they discovered I need the surgery. And it was it was not funny, haha, but I was like, dang, it's my first time in a helicopter. I can't even enjoy. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I
But
know. I
no,
can guarantee my mother is in heaven giving the same look, like, oh my gosh, can she be serious for once? But I have a lot to I give a lot of credit to my mother because she passed away of cancer. And so I learned a lot about how to um, trust God and still um, uh, believe in God and still know that He's looking out for me by watching how she handled in her illness, how she was able to just hold on to her faith and find strength in God. Because at when all it feels like, the ultimate strength for me is in God.
yes.
And then I also want to credit my cousin Kelly, your new cousin Kelly,
My new
because he's had health struggles too, but he's been very steadfast in his struggles too. So
wait a minute.
and
So
learning how to advocate for yourself. He's definitely
wait a
he's
minute. So
definitely
Kelly's had a stroke as well.
no, but he's had eye issues.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you said
Mhm.
he's had a stroke too. I was like,
No,
wait a
no, no,
minute. And I'm not speaking that. I just thought you said. I was like, wait,
no,
what?
no. But I've just in terms of being steadfast in health issues. I've learned a lot from watching Kelly as well, and not letting it, get you down, or if you get down, don't stay there.
Don't say that. Yes, and I think too. Look, Stephanie, we, but
Mhm.
I do think, and it's fine. Like I think when we go through things,
Right,
you have different seasons, right? You have
right,
where you are stuck in it, you are upset, you're sad,
right.
you're angry, but it's okay to have a sprinkle of happiness. And because the
Yes,
ultimate goal is, as you said, to be on the other side, like have
right,
that faith, keep your faith, um, be happy. That's not to say that it's not hard or it's not difficult. And it's also for me, like and I'm gonna say this for the mental health side of it. I'm trying to word this so I don't sound too crazy. So we all have our days.
Right.
We're going to be down. There's going to be days that we're happy, and that's
Right.
just being a human being. But when
Right.
you are going through something, especially health, right? Like really anything. But right now we're talking about health. We're talking
Right.
about. It's therapeutic for me to talk about it and to laugh about it. It's not always funny.
Right.
The situation
Right.
itself isn't funny, but I have a choice every day. I can
Right.
wallow in the mud, or
Right.
I can put my mud boots on and strut through the
Right.
mud, right? Like I have
Mhm.
it. So that doesn't mean because we're here talking and smiling and laughing. And I tell people, because I've had this happen from
Right.
where I shared my story here at Stroke Talks. People, why are you laughing? It's not funny. It's not a funny conversation.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not laughing at the conversation itself. I am happy and
Right.
joyful that I'm here
Right.
to share.
Mhm.
That's what I'm laughing about. Or sometimes I am laughing at myself because there's
Yeah.
just crazy stuff that happened. And
Right.
that's okay.
No.
And it's part of healing, because you can walk around and be depressed, or you can pull yourself again out the mud. But
Mhm.
okay, so anywho, Stephanie, let's go back. You're at the hospital.
Right.
They do the surgery. How long were you in the hospital there, and what was that recovery like?
I was in the hospital for I think a week. And part of the recovery is like, you know, the things like I said before, like them asking you questions just to keep your cognition intact. I didn't have a lot of physical therapy yet, but the physical therapist would come in and I would do certain things from my bed. Um, but so gradually, when I was getting closer to like getting released, they were making sure like I could poop. In other words, so like
Your poop was your poop part of research?
no, that'd be interesting. Oh, just a minute.
Hey, Stephanie.
All right, hey.
I have your lunch.
All right, thank you.
What are you gonna do something in a little bit or no?
I am.
What you gotta do?
What's today? Today's Wednesday.
Yes.
Sorry, y'all.
You good? You good? Look, Stephanie Pa, she didn't want us to hear what she's doing today. See, now I'm curious. What you doing today? She muted herself so we couldn't hear what she was doing today. Girl, what you doing? What you doing today? But hey, folks, take a moment. Support Stroke Talks and buy a coffee. Stroke Talks is run by me. It's
Sorry
self-sustained.
for that. I had to work out with my CNA when I was in the shower. That was what you missed. That was I was. Now you know.
See, I was like, what you doing? I was like, girl, what you doing today? But I was telling
I'm playing bingo. Probably it's Wednesday,
Oh.
so today's a bingo day. Yes,
Are there
I played bingo so many times. I mean, like I'm like a bingo, not expert, but like aficionado.
You like
Or as this one guy on Facebook says, like he's trying to say connoisseur, and like, but he'll say, "I'm carne asado." I'm like,
hey,
I'm a bingo carne asado.
hey, sometimes the words just don't. You just like, oh,
Right,
I can pronounce it. I'm like, how the heck did I just say that? I'm like, y'all know what I'm talking about.
right.
But real quick, viewers, while you're watching this, scan this QR code or go to buymeacoffee.com/stroke talks and support Buy Me a Coffee, because I am the lady behind Stroke Talks. Right now, what I'm doing for the Stroke Talks podcast is all self-sustained. But with your support, I can get more stroke survivors on, help grow this channel, reach more folks, bring more awareness, and save lives. So go ahead, support. $5. I have cheap. I like cheap. Well, I don't like cheap coffee. I'll drink cheap coffee. Okay, no, $5, $10, $25, $100, whatever you got. Support. Go ahead, support. And also, let me say this real quick. You can scan this QR code, and it will take you to our newsletter. And sign up for the newsletter. Let me find the. I send one out weekly. Weekly. It's about our upcoming shows, about our virtual events. I am Stephanie. I'm getting my life together to get those up and going for the virtual events, and looking to do some in-person events here in the DC area, and hopefully start traveling with them, because I think it's important to have these open, honest conversations. But also in the newsletter, I provide just, different resources for stroke awareness, or give you sprinkle a little joy in your life, because, with me, it's random, right? Like, hey, you got to keep up. And some folks don't like that. Some folks do not like just the rawness, the realness, but hey, this is what you get with everything that I do. Okay, so Stephanie, you're in the hospital. You're in the hospital for a week. All right, so
I think it's a week.
You think it was a week? Because when I think of, and hey, our viewers, chime in and let me know what you think of when you hear brain surgery for a brain bleed, right? Like, because there's, with a blood clot, as you said, this is the same thing they did for me. They went in through my groin, up through, pulled it out. I was in the hospital for a week, a little bit over a week, with my recovery. When I hear of a hemorrhagic stroke, a brain bleed, I'm thinking you're in the hospital for months.
Right, and you can be. So,
and
I think coming back to like the facility where I'm at helped, because I didn't have to stay in a hospital for so long, because they knew I was coming back to a facility where I had nurses, CNAs, I had doctor that comes around. So it wasn't like I think if I was going back on my own, it'd be a different story. But I think like coming back here was like the hospital stay, like you would think of like a long hospital stay, because they actually didn't have to. I didn't have to have a craniectomy. Like they didn't have to take off my skull or anything, and like my scars just about healed. But like So I think that was part of it too, because I didn't have to have part of my skull taken off, or if they did, they put it right back on. Like, but so because like I said, I was out, so I can tell you the ins and outs.
Now, what did they determine what caused that stroke? Because there's a difference, and this is for our viewers, right? Like, there's a difference in a clot and a bleed. The vessel in your brain has busted. So, and you had the PFO,
right? So they did check to make sure that was still functioning, the closure. Because if the closure failed, that'll be one explanation. But like, if there was a cause, they figured out a cause. I wasn't informed of it, so that would be something I would say to like stroke survivors. Make sure you know the ins and outs as much as possible.
Now, see,
I think I was just so.
Are you going to ask? Are you going to follow up on that?
I am.
Okay, I'm sorry. See, sorry.
No. You're right. You're right about doing that. So yes.
Because that, as you were saying, like that's important. That is important.
Yes.
No, like what is the cause? And I know in some cases they're unable to really determine the cause,
Right.
but it's also important to keep asking.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
Thank
to
you.
close this out, Steph, and I'm gonna
Can
have
Can I say one more thing before
no,
we go?
no, no, you cannot.
Oh, I want to tell HR. I just want to say one thing. I have a friend, and her kind of mantra is like choose joy. So I kind of remember that every day. Choose joy. Like, I could choose, like you say, to wallow in the mud or put on my mud boots and get strutting. So, is that, and also want to give a shout out to, um, my uncle, Brady Bibbs, my uncle Skippy, for like him taking me to like, I know, him taking me to like different appointments and so forth. So I'm grateful for him.
Yes,
That's
thank you.
all.
Thank you. Because you need people to help you.
I know.
Like, so, stop it. And see, I was going to ask you what you said, and this may be your piece of advice that you just said about choosing joy. I was
Hmm.
going to ask you to close out with advice for a stroke survivor and their caregivers or their
Mm,
loved ones. So you said choose joy. So, but now you
right.
got to give me another one too, because you didn't let me ask you the final question. You were like, I'm going to tell you what I want to say. Yeah, like this is hey folks, this is choosing joy right here. This is choosing joy.
Right. Exactly. So I would say for especially caregivers, um, not to get burnt out and to like take the time that you need because caring for a stroke survivor, caring for any survivor, any illness is like hard. I know because with my mother, I went through that uh, when she had cancer. So like, just take time for yourself, and like people would come to relieve me, and then I would turn them down, and now I'm like, what was I thinking? So yeah, so for caregivers, know that you're appreciated and like loved and like Sybil alluded to earlier. Sometimes we go through emotional ups and downs. It's we don't want to take it out on you. You're just kind of there. So I apologize.
You
And
apologize.
then, well, I mean, I don't apologize.
See,
Actually,
look, no, no.
I know.
Okay, again. See, look, let's be serious. Though. Let's be
Right, right, yeah, right.
serious.
So I would say for survivors, don't be scared to advocate for yourself when it comes to your health and take symptoms and signs seriously. And like when you talk about something you're feeling, uh, make sure it's in context of like I've had previous strokes or I have this going on, etc. So it's like, um, don't take it just for itself. I mean, it could be, but it's like what they told me in ER one time. Like, let let the professionals tell you what's wrong.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. And folks, I'm going to say this: connect with us. If you're a stroke survivor,
Hmm.
connect with Stroke Talks. I do have a Facebook group, um, and I will be hosting virtual and in-person meetups that we can have. They're private, and even if you're not a stroke survivor, if you're a family member, caregiver, or just a loved one, or just a friend, whomever, connect
Right,
with us at Stroke Talks because I will begin hosting the virtual meetups where it's via Zoom. It's private. It's not streamed live. It's not
right,
recorded. It's just an opportunity to come in and talk because sometimes we just need to talk.
right. And
Talk.
it's like, even people like who haven't had strokes, like in your family or among your friends, they'll try to be supportive, but then sometimes it's helpful to talk to people who've gone through it or are going through it and you can relate. Like there are certain things I can say it's simple because I know that she's experienced it and she'll understand. Whereas sometimes with our family or friends, we have to go through a whole bunch of explaining and then like we're tired from that to even get to like what the real issue is. So or the central issue is.
Yes. And if you are a stroke survivor and you want to come on the show and share your story, because I do these every first and third Wednesday of the month at noon.
Right.
Go ahead, reach out to me. Go to stroketalks.com,
Mm-hmm.
in that QR code right there, or just go to again stroketalks.com and complete the form, and I will reach out to you. I do everything myself. I do the show. I'm the host. I'm the producer. I
Right.
answer all the emails. I do all the newsletter. Everything.
But she has a cute HR assistant though.
Yes, I do. I do have a new HR
Uh-huh.
assistant, but so when you complete the form, I may not respond back to you the next day because I
Right.
do have multiple people submitting, and I will reach out to you and get you scheduled to come on and share your story. And it's just like this, right, Steph? Like, hey,
Right.
you ain't got it. Just let the conversation flow. We may not talk for
Exactly.
an hour and a half, but but it's all good. Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me again and giving me another chance. And I want to thank all my friends and family who may be watching, and I appreciate your support as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Stephanie will be back because we're gonna focus on one of the questions today. We kind of went through the whole process, but Stephanie, I do want to talk about that mental health side.
Right.
It's an important conversation to have.
Right.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Stephanie, enjoy your lunch, and then you're gonna go take a nap. We both need a nap now. We need a nap.
Right, exactly.
All right.
All right. Bye,
Everyone,
everybody.
have a good day. Bye.